Hello again, Travis here, and welcome back to another episode of Factorio Space Age. And the last episode, we started setting up the basis for our perimeter and my general plan for how I'm going to defend my novice territory when I eventually head to other planets. Um, there's also and the secondary reason for developing such a thing defense is to keep all the biters at bay that are going to probably be aggroed by the pollution cloud that I'm going to be generating from my coal and iron mines on the border of my territory. And in this episode, I'm going to be discussing the elephant in the room, which are these rail sections that I think. Because I talked about this, I've talked about this here now. But my favorite aspect if I have to say one favorite thing I have for Factorio, it's the trains. I love the trains. I know that's probably a bit of a silly meme thing to say, but the Factorio's train system is probably one of my favorite, most well-designed systems in any Factorio game that I've played. However, there is a lot of I can understand why when a train system isn't completely necessary and why some people might have difficulty with trains. So I kind of want to discuss how to kind of properly set up a train network. I initially wasn't sure if I was going to have be able to make use of trains, but due to how my iron veins run, and yes, I could use this thing, but I have plans for these ore patches, so I've decided to keep those secure for another thing that we'll need for getting to orbit. But basically, if you notice, this long belt, that's just for getting ore to the smelters. One of the key disadvantages of trains over belts is the cargo wagons, and I can kind of show by plopping one down on the rail. A cargo wagon has a lot of space. Now, granted, it has a 8 less slots than thing. Unfortunately, in a weird turn of events, uh, the only thing that quality affects cargo wagons and locomotives is health. I'm not sure why. So, in late game, trains are going to be kind of a throughput issue rather than a benefit. But for the large, but that's like, we're talking about end game kind of deals. But while it's slightly smaller than like a steel chest, this is a slightly nerfed steel chest that can be put on rails. And there's a reason why I kind of there's two ways I can kind of go about this. My the Factorio Left calculator is showcased off in episode 11, I believe. Um, this is about roughly the this is roughly the amount of iron throughput just for iron plates for both for steel and iron plates that just need iron. Do you know what the equivalent of this? 2.5. About that. So, as you can see, this is kind of quite cumbersome. And while in the long term, this being trains do need a lot of space if you want to build a proper rail network. The amount of throughput that condensing 5 belts of input into 2.5 worth of cargo wagons is insane. I did do some preliminary track building, but just so I can showcase how the power of trains and how to properly build it. I'm gonna most of the I haven't done any signaling or intersection work, station work, and I realized I did have craft some supplies thanks to my new supply of iron plates. But in order to properly get the materials to finish out all the iron smelters that I'm planning on building, we're going to need to kickstart the base because oops, yeah, the cars again are not exactly the easiest thing to drive, but it might just be skill issue. So you might notice I crafted a bunch of bulk inserters. I don't actually I handcrafted most of these, mostly because they're fairly expensive. It, they already require a fast inserters as an intermediate, which is a bit of a ask. However, I have a robot stranded. Oh well. I'm just gonna grab some supplies real quick. We'll need all the things. To be able to, as a refresher, rail technology is one of my one plus of a Factorio. Is this is the minimum amount of tech you need to unlock trains, and in fact, there's an achievement for getting trains at 90 minutes of the game. Unfortunately, I'm not a speedrunner, and we're like already like almost 16 hours into the save. Feels like we just started, but that's just the nature of Factorio. You sit down, oh, it's just gonna be a 30-minute save, and then all of a sudden it's 2 a.m. and like the factory must grow, and grow it shall. I do have to do some maintenance on the stone mine. Since it's only making landfill and walls right now, it's not super urgent. And I will be making some minor changes to the starter base. Just so... So, back to what I was saying. So, you kind of need a few technologies. 3 at the bare minimum if you're unlucky with oil. Unfortunately, I was able to avoid such. But there is 4, and to an extent, 5 techs that we can deal with primarily with a train. There is a braking force, which if I can find, which I was a thing, but it's not like a super. It's unlike most infinite technologies. It only goes to a 7. Again, a bit of a strange thing, but I guess they want like ridiculously strong train technology, I suppose. But at the base, you need rails, which will give you the rail recipe, which is it's fairly cheap. And if you're getting into if you're doing purple science like I plan to do, this is your did you put stone on the belt skill check. Locomotives, which have a bit of they're a bit of lengthy to get, especially that 20 engine unit craft, but they're still in relative terms of things pretty cheap. Cargo wagons, which are even cheaper, and if you didn't do electric energy distribution, you'll also get the recipe for iron sticks, which kind of goes for a allows for you to do kind of double your rail production with the. And additionally, you need you can't really do much without automated rail transportation, which will give you train stops, rail signals, and rail chain signals. Now, there's a different naming convention that we kind of use for uh, rail signals. We call block signals, and the chain signals we still call chain signals. And there's a reason for that. I'll get to that when we start signaling. But when we place our rail initially has a 8 card. We go orthogonally and diagonally. Um, you can, of course, place them individually and it will grow the rail. But as you can see, you can't really do that. You can't really make turns. This won't work. However, you might notice this arrow. When I right click it, brings up this menu. Factorio 2.0 made this a whole lot. Rails are already flexible as it is, but with the 2.0 changes, you can kind of do all sorts of funky stuff. With if I hold shift, it brings up kind of like the bulk rail planner, where it will part thing. Like it's trying to path around this cliff, so it will. This is a surprise tool that will help us later. But for most part, we're gonna start dragging this out. Hmm. Probably gonna do the rail. I'm in order to keep my turret lines of the wall secure. I'm probably gonna do an ammo train, but I'll probably put it over here, so we'll have a and I'll cover over why I'm calling it a rail network, because in a way you don't need signals to thing if you have one train and like 2 stops. That's like the bare minimum. In fact, you can have a forward and a reverse train, so that'll be a double-headed train. I'm not going to be doing a double-headed train. Now, that's not to say that double-headed trains are pretty useful. I'll kind of manually, you can of course, you can drive forward and backward with the reverse being a bit slower. But if I quick attempt to holding control will kind of allow you to autopath. As you can see, I can't exactly reverse in what we call automatic mode. And I'll cover what this screen does in a little moment. Double-headed trains allow me to go back and forth, but that kind of raises a bit of a. I'm not. This is not a all a diss at double-headed trains. There are times and places for double-headed rails. And but for I kind of prefer one-way rails because it makes the thing signal and it prevents deadlocks where two trains are. I wish I had brought a second train just for the purpose of showcasing how that works. But yeah, two-way rail networks are a little bit difficult if you're first starting with rail networks, even in with like approaching megabase territory. Um, we double-headed trains are a bit finicky. You kind of need to plan them out. Thing, but for what I plan to be a high volume rail network here on Novice, having a dedicated like highway system where trains can only go one way down a parallel set of rails makes things a lot easier. And enough me I kind of showcase why it is as soon as once we so what I'm building here is if this is like the main line, and this single track is going to be our station offshoot. So we're gonna take our station train stop here. I call it station, but they're called train stop. You notice there's this UI shows up. These green circles are exclusive for free things. Train stations and train signals. The train stop allows us to sit, and you notice this UI pops up. Now, this UI basically gives us a idea of how the station will look if we're using a train up to 4 lengths long. Why 4? Well, the longer the train, the more train cars you need. And while longer trains are certainly there's a time and a place, like double-headed trains, there's a time and a place for them. But for most purposes, we'll rarely need more than 4 cars worth of. I personally like 1 to 4 trains, which is referring to 1 locomotive and 4 cargo wagons. But 1-1 and 1-2 are just equally valid. You'll just know that you'll probably be running lots more train wagons. And now with we're going to that's where these bulk inserters. Bulk inserters basically are souped up fast inserters, with the caveat that they have a stack size, hand stack size. Basically, I mean they can hold more items per per action. Why is this important? Because the benefit of trains is they can move a lot of items a long distance quickly, but you're going to be immensely bottlenecked when you're transitioning from trains to belts and vice versa. The bottleneck is going to be your station, so station design is of utmost importance. Therefore, you basically want to load fast and unload faster, basically. And there's kind of a ways to. But the way I kind of like to is we have a row of inserters, a set of chests that act as a buffer. So while the train is traveling while the train is away, it doesn't have to wait for wait for material to come from the smelters. The smelters can uh passively these chests act as a buffer. So when the train comes back, it won't have to it won't be limited by the smelting stack speed. Instead, it will be have time to and the reason why I only have a set of one, because again, bulk inserters are kind of expensive to craft. uh Iron is at a premium right now, and I only have one furnace stack currently constructed. This is going to change, but at a point, this is a. So now that we have everything, we're gonna be a bit. Oh, nope, I don't want to. We're gonna. Do I have enough? I have just enough red undergrounds. We're going to balance out the lanes just so we have equal distribution before we send them onto the train. with how few smelting arrays that we have going right now. This is a bit of necessary, but will. So now we have our where are my splitters? We want to split just to make sure the and we're going to have a this line is going to be for fuel. Eventually, I am going to replace coal fuel with 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 rock with a solid fuel, and then later rocket fuel, because the trains get more fuel efficient and go faster with better fuel. But we don't have that quite set up yet, so gonna park the bots for a hot second. I'm gonna get as you can see, our train car is loading up. Fortunately, because it's not because we're not, our smelters aren't going quite yet. I can probably just plug everything back in, because we are well enough defended that it won't be an issue. As you need the benefits of plugging our the benefits of keeping our steam engines in the network is that they provide there's still a bunch of power that we can utilize. But of course, it's not clean power, and that will regrow our pollution cloud, which is shrunk down quite a bit to kind of episode 1 levels. Managing the pollution cloud is kind of a thing. While I say I'm preparing to not have the base be running on well, I want the base to be running on clean power. Pollution is kind of a issue that we have to deal with. It's kind of our job to basically use the tools at our disposal, like better, more efficient machines, efficiency modules, solar, nuclear power, all that stuff to kind of ensure we keep our pollution cloud as small as possible. Yeah. Because this starter nest is sort of the thing that I would use. Like this is the stuff that I need, like the tank and artillery for to properly deal with. These expansions are fine, but as you, uh, I didn't show, but I did take care of this spider expansion. It had 2 medium worms in it, so not exactly something super easily dealt with. I'll keep my eye on this border because there is a chance that we can take, and there's definitely probably something out in here. Having radar coverage is will be nice, even though like 3 megawatts of our base is exclusively radars. Uh, we want as much radar coverage so that we can keep tabs on the base from afar, and make sure biters aren't trying to sneak in. So I'm going to build this part of the just so I can oh, I don't want to be using yellow belts. We're going to use the far side of this coal belt as a way to temporarily fuel our train for the time being. And again, once we get into solid rocket fuel and have a way to distribute via logistic bots, this will become a lot easier to. Now that we have that go. Of course, a big problem China, of course, is going to be this thing. Our goal is going to be trying getting off coal dependencies as much as possible. As you can see, our train is a full up. Now, signals. Train signals are if you want to run more than one train, you need signals. And the way that works is via blocks. A block, as the colors change, this is one block and this is another. The color state basically indicates if there's something ahead, this will be red. Like for example, because the train is in the station, it's red. But if it wasn't, like above, it'll be green. We will want to signal. Generally speaking, you want your rail blocks to be basically, it will tell the train where to go and where not to go. Because only one train can be in a block at every time. So it serves as a way of managing train traffic. Because believe me, if you allow it to, trains can and will just will blow for each other, and there is a reason why there is a train kill statistic. But anyway, the block signal is how we separate things. Unfortunately, if there's it's not the be-all end-all, because in an intersection, you kind of don't want trains to be in the space age. With the advent of elevator rails, has been a huge boon. But proper intersection build involves eliminating as many crossovers as possible. So for the purpose of my playthrough, I like to stick to a trains going one way and trains going the other way. The right lane is going to be our counterclockwise lane, and our left lane is going to be our clockwise lane. How do we make sure? How do we do that? Well, if you notice, because there's signals on this side of the rail, that's basically saying, you might notice that these little arrows. This is basically saying, okay, this blue section is a block, and trains, on the only trains that are going in this direction can enter this block. There is a way we can change that by doing that. This will make it a double header, which of course we're not going to do that because this will fundamentally break. If a train can't enter a block, it will stop at the block and wait till the signal thing. We don't want a train to be stopped in this section of rail. How do we do that? With a chain signal. Signaling intersections is probably a new engineer's arch nemesis. It can be a bit intimidating, but there's a really easy rule to remember. Chain in, rail block out. What that that leads me to the chain signal. With the chain signal, basically what it's saying, it will say, okay, is the block directly ahead? It will not only look at the next ahead blocks ahead, it only will look for trains in the current block. It will look for trains in the next block. And of course, you know, this of course will kind of break because it gets finicky if the block is like incomplete, it will kind of like freak out. But so let me kind of I'll pull the train into so you saw it briefly turned yellow. Basically, what the chain signal is doing is saying, okay, so a train's pulling up to up to a station. Where is the train going? It's going right. Okay, is this block empty? Yes. Is this block empty? Yes. Is this block empty? Yes. And so it will allow the train to head through. If there was an obstruction on the track, it will basically tell the train to stop here. And when this enters, when this segment of rail is clear via the block signal, it will allow the train to go. You don't want to exclusively have block signals, and you don't want to exclusively have chain signals. That will fundamentally break the... I'm going to back this up just a bit. So, how do we continue signaling this thing? So, we got this part done. What about this part? We don't want a train to be stopping in here, so we want to chain this segment. And eventually, we want trains to be going this way. Because remember, we want counterclockwise, clockwise. What about this rail? We want to chain in. We already signaled. We don't want a train to stop here. Certainly don't want a train to stop here, so we chain through all the way to here. This part is easiest. We don't want a train to stop here, so we're going to and like that, this is a properly signaled block. I'm going to blueprint this. I'm going to do a we're going to call this a station turnoff. I don't know I think there's like a J intersection. I Alright. The issue with rail signals is that you can't exactly so we're going to kind of do the same thing over. But instead of what I was about to do, we want the trains to come in, so it's a bit finicky. We want trains coming this way, coming clockwise to enter. We want trains coming counterclockwise to enter from this way. And we're going to apply the same principles as the thing. So we don't want a train to be stopping here. So we're going to be chaining into this, and we don't want a train to stop here. So we're going to coming over here. We don't want a train to stop here, so we're going to chain here. Just creating that. And you don't want a train to stop here. Going to, and that's the fundamentals of while we're at, we're going to create red blocks. Although I'm probably gonna leave this block by itself because this will make things messy. So now we can send the train. The train will automatically path back to the station. This is cool and all, but what about what about? Of course, I could just say I want to. This pollution cloud's getting bigger, but there is ways we can determine if a thing of nest is pollution, and we're not currently polluting a nest right now, so I don't have to be on my guard. I eventually want to kind of make a we're going to make a T intersection. And while there is a intelligent way of making a T intersection in Space Age, I don't actually have the technology for elevated rails just yet. So we're going to want this rail. It's fairly easy. Clockwise. Counterclockwise. And this is the kind of the gist of this is a T intersection. Of course, and I kind of want to I'll make an effort to blueprint thing. It's always good to make a rail. You can always like take someone else's rail book, which is not. A lot of Factorio blueprints are here to help and not less than a crutch. But it's kind of helpful to if you want to become a professional Factorio. If you want to be well, not professional, but if you want to step up your Factorio game. So I'm kind of T intersections are a bit more difficult, but the same principle as a chain in, rail out. Now, this is fine, but this will block. The problem with this is that this will block. And of course, this is a kind of. There are kind of methodologies. Some people like prevent trains from, especially when making like blocks. People will might prevent trains from turning left, so they will only be able to make right turns, which will make train pathing thing, but it will. But we're going to build a T intersection, and later on I'll show you how to build a elevated T intersection, which is a lot cooler and a lot easier to signal. So we don't want trains. Let's kind of go one by one. We don't want trains stopping here. We don't want trains stopping here or here. And it will get an anti-bit of. That's this two line. Let's go to this one. We don't want trains to stop here. We don't want trains to stop here or here. Alright, next line. We don't want trains stopping here or here. Or here. Like that. And if I just there we got that. Yeah, that is a T intersection. I'm going to create a blueprint just so I. Now we have a tree intersection. We can we're going to we're gonna go over here and we're gonna let the bots do work because I mean, of course we'll be probably do a lot of the signaling. Some people have blueprints that account for having a that account for proper that basically auto signal. But I kind of I kind of just like man. Now, of course, random network entries are product of city blocks, where your factory is kind of compartmentalized, and each block is like a middle area in between like accessible a middle area factory area that's accessible by train, and each compartment is tasked with doing a specific craft. Like one will be only for like oil processing, green circuits, steel, red science, and so on. Now the signals are kind of going a bit psycho because we did ran out of rail thing. And another thing about these curve sections is they do take consume more rails. I think it's like usually like 2 or 3 per curve section segment. But in spite of that, I didn't really actually build all that many. Less than 1,000 rails, which is like only 500 crafts, which sounds like a lot, but they cost half a second and only need 3 pretty easy to craft items. So now that we have our, how do we get our train? Now this is going to be dual purpose, serving both. Let's see where. Another neat thing about the UI is that even if you have inserters, you can. We also want to buffer over here too. So if once we exhaust our the train supply, it can roll off. It can dump everything into the buffer instead of waiting for belt space. And the way we kind of get around inserters only inputting on the outside is we do that. Which will turn. All right, we're all good on the pollution front. Yeah, because all the belts are saturated again. So, we have our stations. Now, how do you think? You might notice that it creates these random thing. I don't. There's a lore reason behind these different names. I think they're related to like development or whatnot. But we're not going to. We're gonna give them a kind of a. This is gonna be iron drop off, and this is gonna be instead of Michelle Krishtimov. I'm sure I'm probably that. We're gonna be iron pickup. Now that we're gonna create our first train schedule. Now I noticed that because trains are at the stop, that when clicking the station, it will kind of show you trains heading to the station and trains that can have this station. Now because there's only one train, we're gonna open up this menu again. There's two tabs, there's the fuel and the schedule. There's also a grouping, which I will be, we're actually going to be, you can change the train colors. So it's currently at iron pickup. We of course don't want the train to just loiter at the, even though loitering does not consume fuel. We want to wait until the train has a full cargo. However, since we don't have the smelting stack fully built out yet because we don't have the materials for it, we want to also add a condition for inactivity. And as a conditional, yeah. So we're going to wait for the train whether the train has a full inventory or if there's no inserters or pumps interacting with the train, and we unload fluid with fluid pumps. So now we want to send the train to the drop off, and because it's inactive, it will immediately travel to the thing. But because there's no station condition, it will immediately head back to So while with it, we want to make sure that the cargo is either empty or at inactivity. But for the sake of not wasting coal, we're going to just make sure it's inactive. And just like that, the train will pull up to the station. And once the containers are open, the inserters, if they were powered, will be able to unload the train. And that's train that's kind of the basics to train logistics. Of course, there's a ton of ways we can. Another amazing thing about the train system is that Factorio and about Factorio in general is if you desire the control, Factorio gives you all the control over your factory as you want. So you can kind of just tech based on circuit, which is with combinators and circuit, basically controlling. You can look for the amount of fluid in fluid tanks, the fuel in locomotives, if we have full cargo or fuel, if we have cargo, if the train has been sitting at a station, if for a set amount of time, depending on whether the player is in a locomotive or if a station is available. There's a ton of ways we can control trains. But for the most part, you'll only really ever need full cargo, empty cargo, and activity, maybe time passed or cargo amount. If you're like have like a because another neat thing about a cargo wagon is that you can filter slots on like chests, so only a particular item can go into a chest. However, we're not we since we're just going to be doing just transporting just iron on this train, we don't need that. Like that, we now have iron back at the base. We will and in between this episode and the next episode, I will be working on wiring this back into our network. I will be and I will be doing a bit of a de-spaghettification because this bus isn't exactly ideal. But since this was a bit of a longer episode for a good reason, I'm going to be calling it here. If you like my introductory explanation to train logistics, please feel free to leave a like. If you have any questions or concerns about how trains work and of course I'm going to be doing a lot more with trains eventually, in particular talking about interrupts, because interrupts are a 2.0 change that are really cool, and you can basically make a smart logistics system dispatching trains only when you need them using parameter-based interrupts. I haven't. I hopefully I can make an attempt at it, but I won't be doing that until I know what I'm doing, because I haven't actually built a parameter-based logistics network. Anyway, if you want to know more intimate details about train logistics, feel free to leave a comment down below. If you want to see more Factorio Space Age content, hit the subscribe button and follow my playlist for the future videos. And I will see you next time.